Most teachers don't burn out because they're bad at their job. They burn out because no one ever told them where the work is supposed to stop. And in this video, these are 9 things that teachers are doing after the school day ends that's quietly draining them of all of their energy. And number 9 is the most dangerous because it doesn't even feel like it's a problem. Number 1, keep replaying the day in your head. You got to imagine that it's 7 p.m. and you're standing in your kitchen and you're trying to make dinner, but you're not really there. And the reason why is because you keep thinking about the words of your admin after a surprise walkthrough, or you're replaying the incident that happened in second period when a student started cursing at you, or you're replaying an email where they told you that you're the worst teacher that your kid has ever had. Like that's actually possible. And here's what's happening. Your body left the building, but your brain never did. And here's what it actually costs you, is your nervous system can't tell the difference between a stressful event that's happening and one that you're remembering. So every time you replay it, your stress response fires right back up again, and you're not processing the day, you're actually reliving it. The school day ends, but your stress response doesn't, and it won't end unless you make it. Number 2, open your laptop for just a minute, as if that's even possible, because every teacher knows that that's just a lie, saying things like, I'll just check one thing. One assignment then turns into grading, grading turns into planning, and planning turns into answering emails. And that minute that you were going to spend on your laptop, it turns into 2 hours. And that 2 hours, guess what? It's unpaid, it's unscheduled, and if you're honest, it was completely unproductive. When you're at home, the laptop is not a neutral object. Every time you open it, you're sending a signal to your brain that we're still at work. And guess what? Your brain believes that. Number 3, checking your school email at night. And I guess if you take tip number 2 and just don't open up your computer, this wouldn't be a problem. But every single teacher that I know of falls into this category. Now, the truth is that most messages aren't emergencies, but the moment that you read them, even the ones that are meaningless, your brain starts to process. It begins to plan a response. It begins to worry about the implications. It begins to run all of the scenarios through your head that could possibly happen, most of which could never happen. And what you've accidentally done is you've taken your evening and you've given it to the school system, and it didn't even have to ask for it. So let's talk about the reality. That email is going to be there in the morning. The parent that sent it at 9:47 at night, they didn't exactly expect an immediate response. You decided that for yourself, and so you can undecide that. This is all about setting boundaries. And if you struggle with setting boundaries in the same way that I struggle with setting boundaries, then my Reclaim Your Limits guide is just for you. It's free. It's 100% free, and it's always free. And you can get it in the description box, or you can get it right there to QR code. Either way, just go grab it. Number 4, let the system decide when your day ends. The education system has a quiet expectation that's baked into its culture, and that is that teachers should always be available. Available to students, available to parents, available to administrators, available at 6 a.m., available at 10 p.m., available on Sunday afternoon. Nobody cares. They just want you to be available. Now, nobody ever put these things in writing, and nobody ever said them out loud. They're not in the HR manual, and you won't learn about them in your EDU classes, but the culture of education communicates it clearly. The more that you're available, the more that you care. And these are all unspoken rules. And if you're interested and you want to learn more about them, they're right up there at the top, or you can get it. The video's linked in the description. But here's what I want you to know. Availability is not devotion. Availability without boundaries, it's just burnout with good branding. If you do not decide when your workday comes to an end, the system will decide for you, and it will always keep you longer than you want to stay. Now, I've struggled with this for years because I didn't know when enough was enough until my face went paralyzed. My doctor said, if you don't do something about your stress, John, your stress is going to do something about you. And so I had to make some decisions, and that's when I learned the power of enough. And you can get the power of enough. I created it just for you. It's down in the description box, or you can get it right there to QR code. Number 5, take student behavior personally. And this one's very hard to talk about because when a student acts out or challenges you in front of the class or disrespects you in front of everybody, it feels like a verdict is being cast on you. And so what happens is that we end up taking those words home with us, and somewhere around 10 p.m., it becomes a much darker conversation. We begin to ask things like, did I handle that wrong? Am I losing control of my class? Am I losing control of myself? Am I even good at this anymore? This is what I've learned after about 2 decades of watching good teachers, is that the ones that ask questions the most are usually the ones that are doing the best work. Caring enough to question yourself, that's not the problem. The problem is that when you mistake a systemic issue, a kid in crisis, a developmental moment, a bad Tuesday, for personal failure, that's where the problem is because most of the time, these things aren't about you, even when they feel like they are. Now, I want to stop right here and I want to ask you something. How many of these 5 things have you caught yourself doing while you're at home? Maybe you didn't do it last night, maybe you didn't do it last week, but sometime in the recent past, you've struggled with those things. If the answer is more than 2, then you need to keep watching because the next 4 are where it gets even more difficult. Number 6, trying to solve tomorrow's problems tonight. You got to imagine it's 10 p.m., you're lying in bed, and your brain just simply won't stop because you're thinking about the meeting that you got to have with the principal in the morning, or what am I going to do if Marcus throws another chair across the room, or how am I going to deal with the teacher down the hall that keeps gossiping and talking about me? And I got to tell you, I've had every one of those conversations, and they feel productive. They feel justified. The problem is that they're not productive, and they certainly are not justifiable. What's really happening is anxiety is wearing the costume of preparation, because the truth is that every day is an unpredictable day by nature. The teacher who obsesses at midnight is not more prepared than the teacher who slept all night. They're just more tired. And guess what? Tired teachers are not effective teachers. And number 7 is scrolling your way into feeling like a loser. And you probably know what I'm talking about. It's the Pinterest perfect classroom that pops up on Instagram that has the flawless anchor charts. It has the color-coded bins. It has the reading corner, for heaven's sakes, that looks like a Netflix movie. And for the next 20 minutes, without even meaning to, you're auditing everything that you do wrong in your classroom based upon what you just saw in an Instagram reel. But here's what the Instagram reel doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you that it took 3 hours to set up and shoot that video. It doesn't tell you that there was actually no learning that took place in the classroom. And it certainly doesn't tell you that the teacher who made that video went home and cried like a baby because they didn't get anything done in their class that day anyway. So here's what I want you to hear. Don't compare your daily reality to somebody else's highlight reel, because that comparison, that's not information, that's noise, and it's false anyway. And what it actually does is it erodes what matters most in the classroom, which is your confidence to teach. And number 8 is treating rest like a reward that we didn't earn. Every teacher out there knows that teaching is not a desk job, because the fact of the matter is that we're making hundreds of micro decisions every single hour. And you're managing the emotional temperature of a room of students. They don't even want to be there to begin with. On top of that, we have to absorb behavior. We have to de-escalate conflict. We have to perform with competence and empathy, even on the days when we don't feel like it. And that requires times of rest and recovery. And that's not a luxury, that is a biological requirement. Now, I know that rest and recovery looks different for everybody, but what is important is that it's real, it's genuine, and that it's yours. Because if you never allow your brain and body to genuinely rest, you don't just get tired. You start losing the things that make you good as a teacher, such as your patience, your creativity, and your ability to care, because you can't pour from a container if you never refill it. And number 9, and this is the most dangerous of them all, is to believe that exhaustion is just part of the job. Now, I saved this one for last because I want this to be the one that you remember. There seems to be this concept that runs through the teaching culture that says that the best teachers sacrifice, the best teachers give everything, or the best teachers are the ones that stay late or work from home or run on fumes because the students are worth it. And I don't want you to misunderstand. I absolutely think our students deserve the best. But the story that I just told, that might make for a great movie, but it doesn't make for a great life, because it's literally destroying teachers. At Teacher Talk, we're a faith-based organization, not because we want to be offensive, but because we believe it is the best foundation to build upon. And our core verse is this, Proverbs chapter 4, verse number 23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for from it flow the issues of life. And when we have an unguarded heart, things begin to deteriorate. And the truth is that good teachers don't have to destroy themselves to serve their students well. The research on this is not even close to being ambiguous. Chronically exhausted teachers are less patient, they are less creative, they're less emotionally present, and significantly more likely to leave the profession entirely. On the other hand, the healthiest teachers are the most effective teachers, not because they care less, but because they protect the energy that caring deeply for other human beings requires. And so here's the truth. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It's not proof of dedication. It is, however, a signal that you have left your heart unguarded and that you believe that you have to absorb that failure as if it were a personal failure. Now, you probably don't struggle with all 9 of these, but I'm willing to bet that you struggle with 2, 3, maybe 4 of them. And I want you to know that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. If you're ready to stop feeling trapped by a system of unspoken rules, I want to invite you to book a discovery call with me, because in 30 minutes, we can pinpoint exactly where your boundaries are breaking down, and we can create a step-by-step map framework of what to do next. The links in the description or the QRs right there. It only takes 3 minutes to book the call, so go ahead and grab it. And if you want to understand why this system makes it so hard to escape in the first place, this video right here explains everything. Until then, I want you to stay strong and keep teaching.